In a world where change is the only constant, Mo Shamil stands at the forefront, guiding title professionals to not just grow their businesses, but to master the art of innovation. With every episode, you're handed the keys to unlock unparalleled growth and stay ahead of the curve. Get ready for a transformative journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Title Agents Podcast. I am your host, Mo Shamil, CEO of Alltech National Title. Today's guest is Ajay Shah, founder of ListReports and now the creator of a new AI-powered video tool that's changing the game for listing tours. From streamlining property reports to automating how homes are showcased online, Ajay's work sits right at the intersection of real estate and innovation. We're diving into how tech is transforming property marketing, what it means for title professionals looking to stay ahead. Ajay, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mo. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Well, as we always start off the show, I would love to hear your story, how you get started, and what attracted you to real estate in general and technology.
Sure. Absolutely. Probably like a lot of people, it was an accidental path. I've been a serial entrepreneur. Very different than being a serial killer, by the way, just put that out front. So probably 25, 26 years, I've been starting my own businesses and have had the good fortune to exit some of them. And I've also struggled through others and had that whole experience. But in about 2014, had an opportunity to take a core part of my team from my last company, which happened to be in second screen interactive TV, doesn't matter, and really just apply them to something new. And we were searching for ideas. And, something that occurred to us was that real estate agents were not nailing it in terms of their marketing material and the assets that they were putting to market. The thing that I found interesting at the time when homes were cheaper, back then you could legitimately say, here where I'm at in Orange County, a $600,000 home or whatever. And what I noticed was that even a $500,000, $600,000 home had about less quality in terms of the marketing than, let's say, a $20 or $10 toy that you would buy at Walmart. I just found that fascinating. I'm like, how do you have these incredibly expensive assets and they don't get the same quality or representation as something cheap, some commodity item that you get anywhere at a Walmart or a Target? It just seems strange to me. And so that's where we kind of set out, myself, some co-founders and our core team, to see if we could change that. And what we ended up building at ListReports was a marketing automation platform for real estate agents where they could simply provide us a text us an address or provide us a listing address of a property that they had. And we would actually build, using automation, a fully baked set of really high quality marketing material. So it looked good. It considered the neighborhood. It had lots of data and infographics all built into it. And agents really fell in love with it. They really took to it. And we knew we had something. So at that point, we set out and we tried to figure out a revenue and distribution model. And we can talk about that because I think it's really relevant to title and probably a lot of the folks who listen to this. But I'll let you lead.
Yeah, no, I love ListReports. We've used it for like literally almost a decade. Not as much as you would love it to us to, but at least we're subscribers.
Wonderful.
But it was truly kind of the great product to offer, provide a professional digital marketing collateral material for agents that may not have the resources, like for kind of a professional. It can get very expensive trying to build some of that stuff, as you know.
Well, what was really interesting, Mo, was that the first people to come to us were not really real estate agents, they were title professionals. And so keep in mind that though I bought and sold properties before, I didn't understand the dynamics at the time back in 2014 between real estate agents and title reps and loan officers and all of these people. So here we are in Southern California going to brokerages, showing this to real estate agents. But the phone calls we were getting were from title reps saying, hey, can you teach me how to use this because I want to show it to my real estate agents? What's it cost? How do I get? And, we're just looking at each other going, what is this dynamic? Why are title reps doing this? Before you know it, throughout Southern California where we launched, we had title reps just picking up the technology and unbeknownst to us, giving presentations to real estate agents at broker offices, one-on-one and so on. And so we said, I don't think we really understand the dynamics of this industry. So we took a lot of time to try to understand what's the relationship between an agent and an enterprising title rep. And I do say enterprising because, it does take work on the part of the title rep or the loan officer to understand the technology, to sit down with an agent and to help them understand why something like this is better for them than to not do it, right? But we got to understand that dynamic, and that was really the principle, the core thing that helped us figure out that, instead of trying to sell this to real estate agents who, frankly, come and go from the industry and we know are generally incredibly, what's a politically correct way of saying cheap, right? Outside of that group, how do you get agents to understand the value of this kind of capability? And so that's where title reps and loan officers became a big deal for us. And so we found RESPA compliant ways to be able to get this technology to them where they could actually be the ones adding the value to the real estate agent. And that was transformational for our business and also, frankly, for the agents who got to use it.
What were some early lessons you learned building a product for the real estate / title or mortgage space?
I think the biggest lesson we learned, and one that I know that every title rep who's worked with an agent understands, you could have the greatest value to your real estate agent, but that's not enough, right? Like you actually have to really kind of force feed it to them for a little bit until they can understand the value. And that's painting with a broad brush because there are definitely agents who get it right away. But for a lot of people, no matter how easy you make it, it's a behavior change. It's a shift in terms of how they think about things. It's a shift in terms of how they've been told to work. And so somebody that they trust has to be that conduit to them. And that was a deeply frustrating lesson for us until we understood that actually that is our business opportunity to go to enterprising agents, loan officers and title reps and say, hey, if you actually want something where you can add value in a RESPA compliant way, we're that solution for you, right? And so we turned that kind of the biggest frustration, the biggest challenge we had, which is, how do you initiate an agent? How do you get them at scale to really enjoy and appreciate something and realize all these little micro distribution channels with title reps and loan officers was the way to do it.
Let's switch to evolution. And one of my favorite topics is AI.
Yeah.
You've now launched an AI-powered video generator for listings for realtors.
Yes.
What sparked the idea and how does it work behind the scenes?
So we had the good fortune of selling ListReports in 2022. And so
congratulations.
Thank you. It's still very much around for anybody who wants it. It's part of a company called MBS Highway now. And
Barry Habib, right?
That's exactly right, Barry. And so what we did was, when we sold it was a couple months later is when ChatGPT was released. And that for people in the tech industry and frankly outside was a profound experience. For the first time, you could talk to a computer like you could talk to a human. And so that just meant that this arc of artificial intelligence was really moving. And this is a special kind of AI. It's called generative AI. And the reason why it's called that is that it's essentially generating things, right? Like it's actually creating stuff in the world as opposed to AI before that. Because like before 2022, if you were on Google and you went to type in flowers or, looking for a car, it'll come up with images. And those images were using AI to figure out what they were. But it wasn't generating images. It was understanding what a car is, and it was searching for it. Now you could actually generate images. And so this is like producing actual real new stuff into the world as opposed to just taking it in. And so this was profound. It took me a very long time to just sort of wrap my head around it and understand how does the technology work and where is it going? And the reality is it was hard. We at Ethica, we knew we wanted to apply this some way to the real estate industry, but we had to really kind of take a step back and say, where's this technology going, right? And how is this going to be useful in the lives of individual agents and the kind of the broader industry at large? And what we realized is that certain things are still going to be true, which is, to introduce this technology to agents, that same very problem we talked about at the beginning, which is like, how do you get someone's attention? How do you engage them? And how do you make this relevant to them is still going to be a problem. So we explored a lot of different ideas. Like if you talk to us between 2022 and 2025 today, you would have known that we were an AI home inspection company. We were, yeah, we built all this technology along the way. We were an AI transaction coordinator. We were an AI scheduler for agents. We did all of these things, but what we realized was we needed something that was dead simple for agents to understand, where it instantly added value to their lives, but didn't disrupt the workflow that they already had. And so agents, 90% of agents do not have a listing video associated with their listing. So we thought this is a big opportunity because we know listing videos immediately improve conversion rates, and they're easy to distribute out on the social media. They're available on the MLS, right? Like, so there's a lot of different ways that agents can use this, but it's intimidating and expensive to build video. So we looked at the generative AI video capabilities that were out there. And so what we built, and you can actually see this at heyethica.com, is we built a solution that allows an agent to type in an address for an active listing that they have. And what it does is it looks at all of the images for that listing. It then picks out how to build a storyline around all those images. So you may have 60 or 100 images in your MLS listing. It'll pick out, say, 10 or 15 of those, and it'll weave them together into a story. So it starts from the outside of the house, goes in and goes crisply through the kitchen and into the bedroom, et cetera, and then out to the backyard and maybe does a wide zoom. And the AI intuits all of this. While it's doing that, it turns these listing images into actual video. So if there's a fireplace, it'll animate a fire. If there's a water feature, it'll actually animate the water, and it'll zoom in and zoom out, almost like you had a drone video going through the property. This is all using the same generative AI capabilities. And then what we said is, well, a lot of these videos, if you've seen these listing videos, they have music, which is great, but they don't have any words or verbalization that's going on, no narrative around these. So we started to layer on an AI voice where the AI is actually looking at in detail the images of each room and commenting on this in a way that's value added to the video. And so we put a talk track on it. And so we started releasing these to agents. We have like a free version that anybody can have. It's like a 30-second version of the video. And then we have a premium version that's a little bit more, and it's 90 seconds, and it has some extra capabilities. And we started putting out there, and agents really, really took to it. But there's a couple of things they said. One, they said, hey, can I put my own narration in? I would love this to be like it sounds
personalized, yeah.
And we said, well, that's a little tricky because that's like fancy editing, right? If you have to kind of map your voice to the talk track. So what we did instead is he said, voice clone. Give us 30 seconds of your audio sample and we'll actually make it sound like you, right? And so now it can sound like the agent. And then more recently, some of the agents came to us and said, hey, I'm in a predominantly English as a second language market, or I serve a lot of different customers where English isn't maybe their strongest suit. And so now what we do is we can convert these videos and that narration into any language, really.
Spanish or Russian or Polish, whatever.
Got it. That's right. And so all of that gets packaged together. Agents have to do nothing, nada, right? Like that literally the system is done for them. And so that was kind of the starting point. And the whole reason for this, Mo, is that we believe that where agents are going is that they want easier, faster, simpler ways to work through their whole listing, right? To make it easy to do all the steps along the way. And we think we're going to be the conduit to all of those steps. But video is a great launching point for us.
I love how you pretty much mimicked what ListReport did, but like on steroids. And that
That's
was
right.
AI.
That's right.
That's
exactly
brilliant.
it. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it took us a long time to come to that. Actually, one of our co-founders, Vedant, he came up with the idea. He was just like, one day he showed it to us. He's like, hey guys, I want to have something to show you. And it was like this really brilliantly done generative AI video. And we said, that's great. Where'd you pull that from? Didn't realize it was AI at the moment. And he's like, I actually built it with the tools. And we were just like, this is fantastic. We knew we had something great.
That's awesome. How do you see this kind of AI technology changing the way homes are marketed and sold over the next 3, 5, 10 years? I mean, 10 years would be like an eternity. How fast things are moving.
It's moving literally exponentially. And so here, Mo, is kind of the analogy I give people to exponential, because we've all had experience with an exponential event in the last decade. Do you know which one I'm referring to?
That's the only one I remember is going to be ChatGPT. That's personally.
Well, even before ChatGPT, it's called COVID, right? So COVID started in, depending on who you ask, December, January in China, 2019 or early 2020. In March, we were shutting down the United States, right?
For the world.
In the world, right? Yes, exactly. I remember Italy preceded that, and so on.
Yeah.
So I was with some friends at breakfast on a Saturday morning. I think it was like mid-March, and I was talking to them, and the place we were in Venice, and the breakfast place was crowded. I mean, it took us 40 minutes to get a seat, right? Crowded. And when I sat down and I was looking around, I said, you guys realize that in a week there's going to be nobody here, right? And they're like, that. Okay, that's interesting. That doesn't make sense. Everybody had heard of COVID at that point, but it felt nowhere to be found. And literally, not that I'm prophetic or anything, but I do follow exponential curves. And the thing that happened was a week later, Tom Hanks got COVID. We shut down everything, and a week later, it was empty. And that is what exponential is. You don't know it until it runs you over like a train, right? And the thing is it's very hard for human beings to think in exponential terms. We don't do it. We don't do it well. But the reality is what AI is today is exponential. Where it is today, literally in 2 to 4 weeks, it will be profoundly better. And in 2 to 4 years, we can't even understand it. We cannot understand it. So I think it's so important for people to try to wrap their heads around this, because everything that we do and how we live and how we act and how we work is going to be changed and transformed through AI. And even knowing this, and even being somebody who follows it relentlessly, I am constantly surprised at
I can't keep up.
No, even the industry can't, honestly, Mo. So, the reason why I think this is important, though, is not to overwhelm people. It's to tell them and to hopefully help them understand to expect change, not to expect the same, right? And that is the way for now, and probably for the near future and maybe the distant future. When you said how are homes going to be marketed in 10 years? First thing I thought of was robots, right? Like, do we even have humans walking through doing the video capture and the home inspections and so on? Probably we'll have robots doing that, for example.
Drones, the robots.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So for realtors and title professionals who might feel overwhelmed by the new tech and technology in general, what's your advice for staying current without getting lost in the noise?
I think the first thing is, the great news about AI is it's way easier than using Microsoft Word.
I agree.
Right? So you may not have ever mastered a spreadsheet or a Word document or how all that stuff works, but you are a master of your language, whether it's English or another language. And all AI ever asks of you is to speak in that language. So, the overwhelm should be different here. Yes, we can all be overwhelmed by the rate of change, but the ability for any of us to access this is easier and more accessible than anything, because all you have to be is yourself, right? And so I think that's the really exciting thing. Now, what you and everybody should be doing, if they don't do it, is spending a lot of time with ChatGPT. And I specifically call out ChatGPT because, while there are other solutions out there, they have a free version that's really, really good, and that's getting better and more accessible to people every day. And so I not only personally prefer it, I also think it's the most accessible for the average person to kind of get their heads around, because they're building it as a consumer application, right? So they're thinking about it as a consumer, not just necessarily as how a business would operate. And I personally, the way I use ChatGPT is it knows a scary amount about me.
The new what is it called? You ask it about what do you know about me, because it's this like freaky narrative.
Yeah. The other day I asked it to give me some piercing commentary about myself. I said, no holds barred, just everything you know about me. And it was profound. I sent it to a few people who know me very well, and they teared up. They were like, wow, this not only nailed it, but like it was harsh.
I'm I want to do it, but I'm a little scared.
You want to love brain, right? Yeah.
I don't want feelings to be hurt.
But this thing though, like it's such a transformational technology, and I feel badly because I feel like people are going to be left behind, not because it's hard, but because they fear change or because of the discomfort that comes with it. And that's the saddest reason not to embrace this, right? Like there's not a conversation, even in sort of this conversation, Mo, I took some of the topics we talked about, and I talked to ChatGPT about it. I said, what's important here? If we want to deliver a message, what's truly important, right? And it knows my values. It knows what I believe in. And it said, well, look at this in this way. And that's why even before this conversation, I said, Mo, I really want to emphasize the AI, because if people who are listening to this, just a little bit more, they rip that Band-Aid and they're willing to do it, then I think they will be well served.
I believe we have at least half a dozen episodes focused on AI.
That's wonderful.
It's very close to me, and I just I smile whenever I talk about AI. It's just like
I can see that.
So what? Let's talk about automation. What kind of efficiencies or time savings are your clients seeing with this with Ethica tool versus traditional home tour methods?
Yeah. Great question. So the thing about what we're offering with the video product is something that most agents don't do today, right? So we're introducing something new in their arsenal that is wonderful from a marketing perspective, but most of them don't even do videos today because they're too expensive for them to do, and there's too much logistics involved. That a lot of agents say, hey, it's hard enough for me to get the person to like clean the house before I come in for my photo shoot. So this is hard for people to do. So I don't necessarily characterize it in terms of this product as time savings. I characterize it more like this is something that you should be doing for your sellers, but you're not today, right? And so you're adding value to them. Now, the one place where this is playing out that I think is really cool is we've had listing agents who are starting to use these now say, hey, you know what? I've actually added the fact that I'm using AI generated videos into my listing presentation. Right. So I'm winning business. I have a new pitch, a new way to win over customers in a way that I didn't before. And so I think that's really cool in terms of how they're using it.
That's awesome. Are there any surprising or unexpected use cases for this tool that have come up since the launch?
It's funny the different ways that agents want to use it that we didn't expect. So, we've had agents say, hey, I also want to use this for rentals. And so I said, okay, that makes a lot of sense. We don't really support that use case yet, but yes, I get it. We've had people come to us and say, I want to use it for commercial. I have a friend actually who's an agent who said, "Hey, I'm actually selling a burger joint in Huntington Beach, and I would love to do a video for that and use it." I've had a person come to me recently saying, "Can we use this for senior living communities where I want to basically take images and create videos?" So it's really interesting. Like just people come up with all sorts of interesting ideas and ways that they want to use it. Yeah, that's the cool thing about any good product is that what your notion and your vision is of it is like here, and then when people have the opportunity to use it, it becomes like that, right? Like it becomes a lot bigger.
So for the properties that are not listed, so the images are not the MLS.
Mhm.
I guess you provide pictures of the property, then
You can upload photos.
then Ethica generates a video.
That's right. That's exactly it. Yeah. So you can upload photos, and then Ethica will work its magic just the same.
Awesome. What's next in your innovation pipeline? Are you looking at expanding into other areas of prop tech or more of real estate automation? And you talked about a transaction coordination automation before, and an inspection and all this kind of.
So our real vision for this is to be the true definitive, and we're lacking the word, but depending on who you talk to in our team, it's the AI assistant, the AI concierge, the AI buddy, the AI teammate.
Agent, AI agent, yeah, the AI term.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. For all the things that real estate agents need, because we think that the most optimal thing for an agent to do is to go sell, right? Like that piece of this, we think will still stick around. It's still a human connection, human trust, but all the operational pieces, all of the marketing pieces, all the other components can essentially be taken over by AI. So they have somebody who is their constant assistant or teammate taking on all these activities. And we're building out literally all those things. So yes, transaction coordinator will be there, and the conduit to your title company, right? This will be the conduit to your title company. You probably open title right on this, and from there it'll be able to contact the title company, open it up, keep track of it. All you have to do is say, "Hey, where are we with this? What's the preliminary title report looking and telling us?" And AI will examine all of it, all through a simple text interface, right? Like so. That's how we see this working, and it'll extend to all those settlement services as well. And this becomes that point of contact, that point of relationship.
And how do you see your tools empowering title agents and closing professionals?
The initiated title agent is going to benefit because they're going to want to take some time to understand this technology and then get it out to agents. And there's nothing proprietary about it. Like they just need to learn about it and they need to add value to agents, right? Like there, and yes, we have like a way where title reps can do this through the system. They can refer their agents and so on. That doesn't really matter. The point is you be the Sherpa, you be the guide for your agents through this revolution, right? Like, yes, Ethica, we obviously, I would love for them to promote and drive Ethica adoption wherever they want. Great. But whatever it is, be the ones who are, and I hope I don't sound too lecturing because that's not what I'm trying to do here, but to just try to get this message across, learn the AI, and there's going to be a million ways that your agents can apply this, but they're not going to know how. So be the guide for them. You can do that every day, every week, and so on. And if you do that, I guarantee you that your relationship with them is going to be more valued than the next person's. And we know what that means in practice.
Absolutely. In your view, what role should title agents play in a wave of prop tech disruption?
Exactly what I said, right? Which is be the AI Sherpa, be the guide, learn this stuff. It's super easy. It takes time and energy, but it's easy. It's accessible to anybody. Show them what they can do. Show them, hey, you should be building videos. You should be using AI for improving your MLS text descriptions. You should be using this when you have a sticky situation and you need some advice on a matter. You should be using this to promote yourself, maybe to do blog entries and posts and things like that. Let's do some together. Let's see what works. And if you do that for them, it's free, it's cheap, it's accessible. Just requires a little bit of initiation. And the thing about agents is that they really value people who bring them new breakthroughs in their thinking.
Adding value. How about from your view, how do you foresee title done or any disruption in how title operation, title in general, not just marketing to realtors?
AI
As a forward thinker,
no, it is going to transform how title is done, because quite frankly, this is the part that I don't love talking about, because it does involve disruption of, I think, people's economic welfare and so on. But I think the reality is, operationally, AI title companies are going to predominate. Like the much of what you do in title can be done through AI today, but people haven't put the steps and processes together.
Yes.
And there's little, frankly, and frankly, there's very little that can't be done. Even a lot of the customer service and support elements. And the reality is, when you let consumers or agents have their choice, if they could call a number because at 11:30 on a Saturday they have a question, and that they happen to be talking to a very friendly AI about a status or an issue, they'll do it, right? And so it doesn't completely eliminate humans, but I think it is gonna have a big impact on title companies and how they operate.
As one of the latest adages, I don't know if you've heard it, AI is not going to replace people, but it's going to replace people not using AI.
So that is for sure. That's right. And
that's if you want to come to job security, you got to learn AI.
You got to. That's right. And then that is absolutely true, Mo. And that's why I think, like, learning it there right now, we can't talk about 5 years from now. A lot of people, if you think about the future, they're talking about massive disruptions to the economy. I don't know, could happen. But right now, it's going to create more winners than losers. Right. But only for the people who embrace and adopt it.
Right. Absolutely. Now we're coming to the end of the show. I have a couple of last questions I ask every guest. Do you have a favorite quote?
I do, but funny thing about this quote is it's long enough that I have to read it off. So I pulled it up here. So this is Adam Smith, and this is the quote, and we could talk about it for a second. In ease of body and peace of mind, all the different ranks of life are nearly upon the same level. And the beggar who suns himself by the highway possesses that security which kings are fighting for. So what I always take from that is that, we always think about kind of people's different lots in life, and we strive because we think that by striving and achieving something, we're going to attain something, and that peace lies there with what we attain, what we accomplish. But the fact that the beggar has that one security that kings will never have. Hey, I can't lose anything, right?
Wow.
Nothing can be taken away from me, is one of the forms of ultimate security, because the king is always afraid, right? And so I love that for myself, but I wish people would remember that, like, on their journey. Yes, accomplishment is great, but it's not the cure-all. It's not the solve-all for all their problems and worries and concerns. And in some ways, they may create new problems.
That's awesome. It's very deep. How about a favorite book?
So I, the weird thing about Nemo is my favorite book is usually the last one I've read or I'm reading. So, like, classically, if you'll indulge me, I'll list a few that I like. So I like the Sapiens a lot. Have you ever read Sapiens?
Yes. Quite a while ago.
Yes. Yeah. Tipping Point is one of my favorites too. Tipping Point was great because it wasn't just the concepts that they introduced, but also it was a new style or genre of book that Malcolm Gladwell introduced, and it created a whole type like that. There's a book called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb.
It's very deep thinker, philosopher.
Very, very deep. But what I'm reading right now, and I've really fallen in love with right now, is called The Secret Language of Cells. And what it's
the
about...
Secret language of...
Cells. So
cells, okay.
EL, like the cells in our body. And the really interesting thing is that, cells basically, they're basically just listening for signals all the time, and they're just working. off those signals. They're these messengers that send things back and forth. And to understand the body and the physiology and biochemistry of the body, just by understanding that everything that happens in the body happens because something is signaled. And then when you realize that all of our behaviors, everything we choose to do and we choose not to do, are also sending signals to the cells, it gives you a whole different framing for life, right? Like, what am I doing right now? And what is that telling my body, my cells, right? And so it's just like an interesting thing. And so the book makes it very accessible, and that's why it's
I'm going to add it to, I'm a big Audible guy, so I'm going to definitely add it to my Audible wish list.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, AJ. That was tons of knowledge, and wishing you the best of luck with Ethica. And definitely will be using it when it's become commercially available in our area. So looking forward to staying in touch, and best of luck.
All right. Thanks, bud.
A huge thanks to AJ for sharing his insights and giving us a peek into the future of AI and real estate. If you're in the title world and wondering how to keep up with the tech wave or even ride it, this is exactly the kind of innovation to watch. As always, don't forget to subscribe, share the episode, and leave a 5-star review, hopefully, if you find it value. Until next time, keep learning, keep adapting, and keep building your legacy. See you next episode.
In a world where change is the only constant, Mo Shamil stands at the forefront, guiding title professionals to not just grow their businesses, but to master the art of innovation. With every episode, you're handed the keys to unlock unparalleled growth and stay ahead of the curve. Get ready for a transformative journey